Alejandra Avalos Carranza retired from real estate in her 30s, faced 30 rejections pitching her podcast, then landed a former DreamWorks CEO by doing what few people teach. She charged guests to access her audience. In this episode of Podcasting Secrets, Alejandra reveals her LinkedIn pitch framework that converts high-profile guests, why she targets 90% of internet users outside of America that most podcasters ignore, and how flat fee monetization beats traditional sponsorships. If you're burning out chasing saturated US markets and waiting for sponsors, this episode flips the entire monetization model.
Welcome to the Podcasting Secrets Show, where successful creators share their best stories, secrets, and strategies. I'm your host, Nathan William.
Hello, incurable creators, and welcome to this episode of the Podcasting Secret Show. Today, I'm joined by Alejandra Avalos Carranza. Ali is the founder and CEO of ACMG Digital and the host of the ACMG Digital podcast. She builds global visibility and authority for entrepreneurs through strategic media, positioning, and brand amplification. She helps experts go from unknown to recognized in their industries. Thank you for joining the show, Ali.
Nathan, it's a pleasure to be on your show.
So, Ali, can you please start off by sharing with us something that most people don't know about you?
Most people don't know about me is that I am a very just laid back person. I think a lot of people think I'm very authoritarian, kind of like bossy, but in reality, I'm not. I'm like a super sweet, just peaceful. But when it's time to do business, of course, you put the business hat on. But I think a lot of people don't know that about me. I'm an introvert at heart, and I love to just help people.
Yeah. It's interesting when you had those girls growing up that people called bossy. Those are usually the women that are amazing leaders and are amazing at getting things done and making them happen. So
Exactly.
I actually think it's a wonderful attribute, and I love to hire that personality type.
That's awesome.
So, Ali, can we start off by having you share with us about your business?
Yeah, so my business right now is in the digital PR and marketing space. It started with a podcast. I once said, hey, I have time now. Real estate helped me kind of get out of my 9 to 5. I want to start a podcast. So I started looking up, how can I start a podcast? And sometimes you don't even know how to do it. You're just like, well, what do I do? Do I go on Spotify? So I found everything out on Google. And I said, how are people getting these podcasts to 1 million streams? It's actually just getting yourself out there. Once I started talking about my experience getting out of the 9 to 5 kind of conundrum, I realized that people were emailing me, hey, I heard your podcast. Can I get on your podcast? And I started from there back last year. So it's been back to back to back since last year. And I thought that was awesome. I think that right now, the podcasting thing is the most important thing. And my business has grown from that, just meeting people globally. I would have never met these people in my community. These are people that are in Europe and Mexico and Latin America that I'm interviewing. So it really just helped me grow my network.
Yeah, that's one of the huge benefits of having a podcast is this global growth.
Yes.
You told me in the pre-interview that you were able to retire 5 years or so ago from your previous business. And now you've started a podcast. Can you tell us a little bit about that business before and about the 5-year break that you took?
Yes. So in 2018, around there was a property that was kind of stuck in my family. Nobody cared about it. There was a lot of title issues. So I decided to take on the challenge. I said, I'm going to figure it out, and I'm going to get a lawyer, and I'm going to figure out how to do this. I eventually got it cleared, and I sold it during COVID for about 4 times the price of the home. So I was able to cash in a lot of money, and I said, you know what? I'm going to move it to a short-term rental to another, investment. So I had my accountant help me with that. He was an investor with me. He said, you know what? I think Airbnb is doing really well. Let's start putting it on an Airbnb. Ever since then, it was busy. It was like the Midas touch. It was just booking after booking. And I said, wow, I didn't even think this was a business. I need to keep doing this. So when I did that, I said, I need to put my extra time to build a digital business. I can't just rely on just real estate forever. And I saw that the digital space is huge right now, especially with the AI transition. So I started doing that, and I'm going to tell you, Nathan, it's been great. Like it's really been an experience for me.
So tell me about that experience. Tell me about that podcasting journey. You started, and
Yes.
why did you do it? Why did of everything that you could do, you've now made your money from your Airbnb. Why did you choose to do a podcast?
because I said I need some sort of communication. If I'm starting a digital company, I need branding, I need marketing, and I can't always be relying on, let's say, news stations or, that's the old school way of doing it. People are listening to podcasts more. It's on YouTube, it's on TikTok. So I said I'm going to start doing it and interviewing people. And as I started interviewing people, I realized there was a something they needed, which was advertising, either outlet, media, and I started saying, hey, I can help them with that. I can actually connect them with media companies, outlets, other podcasters that can do that. And I started realizing this is a big industry. And a lot of people are sleeping on podcasting. It's not easy because you have to put yourself out there, but once you know your niche audience, it clicks.
Yeah, I love that.
I think the niche,
So you saw podcasting as a way to build your credibility and as
yes,
your marketing strategy for this new
yes,
business. Okay, I love it. That's a very wise move. You talked a little bit about these people that you've been able to meet globally. You talked in our pre-interview about your immigrant story. Can you tell me about your journey to become an immigrant entrepreneur in America and how that has impacted your global view and global reach in this business you're creating?
yeah, that's a great question, Ethan. To be an immigrant, I think a lot of people don't understand. You have to work 1,010 times harder, because of the fact that I don't look like an average person. People can tell that I'm not, local. They always tell me, "Where are you from? Are you, what kind of person are you? Where's your ethnicity?" It's very tough because you really have to work harder. But because of that drive, I said to myself, I need to keep building things. I need to prove to the people that this is possible. It doesn't matter if you're a woman, if you have color, if you're colored skin, you can do it if you really have passion and drive. And I think that's what people lack right now. The drive isn't really there. But being an immigrant really puts me in that forefront of I need to work harder and better and find systems on how to, you know, make things just more accessible.
Yeah. So talk to me about the global perspective. A lot of podcasters, they focus on the US market because that's what they know
Yes,
and they're there,
yes,
but only 10% of internet users are in the United States, right? If you
right.
just focus on the United States, you're losing 90% of the market and you could be 10 times bigger focusing on global. Can you speak to us a little bit more about the global opportunity in podcasting?
Yes, global opportunity is where it's at right now. Don't focus on one market. Always look to see where can I solve a problem globally. Because somebody in Italy might need your service, even if you're in the US. Someone in Mexico, right now, there's a lot of things going on in Mexico and with, business, agriculture, and everything. So it's important that you learn different cultures around the world. It's just super important. I always tell people globalization is the way you're going to grow your company twice as hard, twice as fast. Don't just focus on the US market because if everything goes downhill here, your company can go downhill as well. So I think people should focus when it comes to podcasting, look at your stats. Where are they listening to me? Where is it that I'm hitting these targets? So I can push on ads. I can start talking more about that area as well. I think a lot of podcasters miss that, like the analytics of where their audience is at.
Yeah. Specifically, can you tell me about the Mexican market? Have you done much business focusing on taking your podcast or your business to Mexico, and how good of an opportunity is that for other US companies?
Yes, so I'm actually thinking of moving completely to Mexico because everybody's kind of looking into different markets outside of the US because of the whole tariff thing, politics going on. I see this growth in the tech space in Mexico. And I spoke to several people that are in Mexico that said, hey, everybody's moving, even data centers close to here. And they're also moving to China. They're moving to all these places that we never thought even would happen, because of everything that's going on in the US. So people in Mexico are telling me, come to Mexico. It's much cheaper and you'll still be able to grow from here.
Yeah.
I love it, to be honest.
Yeah, I've helped create 5 businesses in Brazil, and I think it
Okay.
may even be easier to create businesses in Brazil because you don't have all the competition. They don't have all the capital. They don't, I
Exactly.
think there's some phenomenal opportunities in some non-US countries.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, when we did our pre-interview, you said there were a couple of things that you wanted to teach us. One of those was how to pitch your podcast to important people, how to get big name people to be guests on your show.
Yes. So to the listeners and to your audience, if you are starting podcasting, the one thing I can tell you is pitch to people on LinkedIn that you match with what you're talking about, what your niche is. It can be any niche. And ask them or message them, hey, I have a podcast. I would love to interview you and do marketing for you. Would you like to be a guest on my podcast? All you can do is try. Most of them say yes, to be honest. They're like, oh, free marketing. You know what? I have a book out. Or you can ask them, do you have a, a book out or a speech or an event? I want to market it for you. And they will usually say yes. The ones that say no are usually, they're in another kind of level. But most of them were like, yeah, I have a book. I would love to be on the podcast. I'll just share it and I'll be able to kind of market it. So that's how you get your podcast out there. When I first started, the biggest I guess guest that I've had was the guy. I think he was the CEO or former CEO of DreamWorks and 20th
Wow.
Century Fox. Yes, and then I had a Forbes real estate counsel. He said, "Hey, I heard your podcast. I have another class coming. Can you, interview me?" A lot of these people just need new eyes,
Yeah.
on their services or products. So if you're a new podcaster, just pitch to them. Start writing a pitch. Say, "Hey, how can I get these people's attention?" And your podcast is going to gain more listeners and more visibility.
Today's episode of Podcasting Secrets is brought to you by Pod Allies, the done-for-you podcasting services solution. When I speak with CEOs about their podcast, one of the most common comments that I hear is that they know they need a podcast, but they don't have time. Have you ever wondered how some businesses find a way to still run their podcasts while juggling their crazy day-to-day operations? The secret might be simpler than you think. Let me introduce you to Pod Allies. This is a service that's changed the game for businesses in the podcasting world. Pod Allies is a done-for-you podcast production and marketing service. They understand that while many businesses understand the immense value podcasting can have for their business, finding time to produce, syndicate, promote, and monetize a show can be challenging. Pod Allies offers a dedicated team to handle virtually all aspects of your podcast production. From strategy and branding to audio and video editing and guest scheduling, they've got you covered. They even take care of creating blog posts, transcripts, and syndicating your content across multiple platforms. What sets Pod Allies apart is their use of PodUp, their proprietary podcasting software suite. This allows them to streamline the entire podcasting process, saving you time, effort, and a bunch of money. If you're ready to become a thought leader, connect with your audience, and grow your business through podcasting without all of the investment of time and cost of doing it yourself, Pod Allies might be the perfect solution for you. To learn more or to schedule a free consultation with a podcast expert, visit podallies.com. That's podallies.com. Now back to the show. Okay, what strategies do you have for how you can find the contact information for these high-level people?
Usually they have it on their LinkedIn, and these people have everything on their LinkedIn. They say, this is my email. If not, they have an assistant. You can pitch their assistant as well. Just make sure you find, where are they? Are they on YouTube? Are they on TikTok? And comment, hey, I saw your stuff. I saw your video. I would love to interview you. Sometimes they do answer and reply.
Yeah.
It's a good thing to do it.
What advice do you have for how to contact these people once you found their contact information?
Once you do that, create a good email pitch. And I think the way I did it, I remember the way I did it. I just started writing stuff down. I ChatGPT'd a lot of things. I was like, I need to make it so organic and also something fast that they can kind of get attention. And it worked. You just have to try.
Yeah.
And sometimes rejection is going to hurt, but hey, you at least tried and go on to the next person.
Yeah, that's the only way you'll get it done is if you reach out and put yourself out there.
Yes.
Okay, another thing that you were wanting to teach us was about podcast branding. What secrets and strategies do you have to share with us about how to effectively brand a podcast?
Pick a good logo. Pick a logo that's going to connect fast, a name that's going to be catchy, something that's with you, your brand, what you're talking about. I think having a great logo is going to really present who you are as a person, as a podcast, as a company, if you have a company. Have a great branding, colors, use something with emotion, tell a story. Why am I having this podcast? What am I doing this for? What's the reason I get on every day and interview people?
Yeah. What's one of your best strategies for growing a podcast audience?
Collaborate with people. They have a podcast, get on their podcast, interview them. I think it's important to do collaborations, get on social media, tag them, and use it to it's all free, Nathan. I think a lot of people they kind of overcomplicate themselves. They're like, wow, who am I to get famous? It's not about really getting famous. It's about creating a network. through podcasting, which is the new radio stations nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah, and even better because they're authentic, they're real, they're not just these big monoliths.
Exactly.
Okay, what is one of your best strategies for monetizing a podcast?
Monetization, it can get a little tricky at first because you do have to have streams. But I think what you can do is literally bring value to somebody else and say, hey, if I market this and I'm able to get you a lead or two, I have referral fees. I have, I charge something for it. Do you want to do that? You can always get into an agreement with someone.
Yeah.
You're not going to always monetize completely from the platforms. That's not where the money's at. The money's leads, getting new people. You can help them get more views on their stuff.
Yeah.
And you can charge them. I really think, Nathan, podcasters should charge a flat fee because you're getting into my audience and I'm getting into your audience. And having a flat, realistic fee would make everything just much better.
Yeah. What's one of the biggest challenges you faced as a podcaster, and how'd you get through it?
Rejection. I was rejected about, I could say 20, 30 times. And them saying, no, who are you? Like, why are you coming to my, emails? But you need to take rejection because this is the real world, I took it. I cried, yes. But I said, no, I have to keep trying. Because if I give up, I'm never going to get to that level. And these people were once rejected as well. So I think handling rejection is something as a podcaster that you're going to have to get through and getting comfortable being on camera.
Ali, you're an entrepreneur. How do you see the fusion of podcasting and entrepreneurship?
It's going to intertwine. Every entrepreneur is going to, in the future, will have their own podcast, their own media channel, their own YouTube channel. It's going to keep growing. I think it's very important to be visible on all platforms. And as an entrepreneur, it's helped me a ton. It's with a lead, or if it's not a lead, it's a referral. If it's not a referral, it's just a new connection.
Yeah. And how about AI? How do you use AI in podcasting? What's the best advice that you can give to other podcasters who are wanting to more effectively use AI?
You can use it to record, to at least chop off your clips, because that's a lot of work for an assistant sometimes. So what really helps is just getting a good AI system that you trust to clip everything for you. Like you have a recording system, so you can have a system that's fast and you can get the episodes out faster. I think that's one thing I struggled with. In the beginning, I was doing everything by hand and it took me days.
Yeah. What's your secret sauce for success as a podcaster?
To love it, love what you're doing, be excited about it. I've been on podcasts where the energy was a little off. The podcast host was just kind of like bored, and I said, no, this is not it. And be excited about meeting new people. Be excited about marketing their stuff. And you know what? That energy is going to come back to you, and someone's going to be in your email. Hey, I heard your podcast, and they're going to have like 1 million followers. I want to, collaborate.
Yeah. What's the biggest mistake you've ever made in podcasting?
Thinking that it happens fast. It took a while to get here. It took 1.5 years. It takes time. Regardless of all these technology, you have to put in the work, Nathan. I think at the end of the day, we all have to show up every day and put in that work and keep people entertained and also offer value.
Yeah. In your non-podcasting business, you help businesses get media promotion.
Yes.
What advice do you have for podcasters that want to get media promotion?
Try to get on a few media outlet features. That's really going to help you out there. Credibility is important in this business. So if you get on a few, media outlets, people are going to see that you're serious about it. Have a sort of attire that you want people to kind of like know you as, because that's important as well. But anything in the media space, get yourself on features. That's really going to get you credibility.
How do you do that? How do you get yourself out there and featured in those publications?
So companies like ours that are, startups, we literally have tons of companies we work with, like Forbes, GQ. We also have smaller companies that are like the New York Telegraph. They're a little bit smaller. They have smaller fees. You can start small and then eventually get on those big million subscriber, platforms.
Yeah.
But it's good to invest.
Ali, if our audience has enjoyed this podcast as I have, and they want to learn more about you and your services, what are the best ways for them to do that?
Yes, visit us on LinkedIn, ACNG Digital. I also have my LinkedIn. It's under my full name, Alejandra Avalos Carranza. And you'll find our website, everything there, reviews and our partners that we have now.
Nice. Thank you so much for joining us today and for adding so much value for our audience.
Nathan, it was a pleasure.
And here are my key takeaways from this episode. Number 1, pitch high-profile guests on LinkedIn by offering free marketing for their books, events, or services. Number 2, target global markets instead of just the US. 90% of the internet users live outside of America. Number 3, check podcast analytics to identify where listeners are concentrated, then create content targeting those regions. Number 4, charge guests flat fees for audience access instead of relying solely on platform monetization. Number 5, rejection is inevitable. Expect 20 to 30 rejections before landing major guests and keep pitching anyway. Number 6, collaborate with other podcasters to share audiences rather than building from scratch alone. Number 7, strong branding starts with a memorable logo, catchy name, and emotional storytelling about your purpose. Number 8, AI clipping tools eliminate days of manual editing work and accelerate episode publishing schedules. Number 9, media features on outlets like Forbes build credibility faster. Start small with affordable publications first. Number 10, entrepreneurship and podcasting are merging. Every entrepreneur will eventually need their own media channel. Number 11, energy and excitement during interviews creates reciprocal opportunities from guests with large followings. And finally, number 12, monetization comes from leads, referrals, and connections more than advertising revenues alone. If you're looking for an amazing all-in-one podcasting platform with more than 60 integrated tools, check out podup.com, where you can get a free trial and you can get a free 30-day podcast launch course. And if you need a podcast, but you just don't have time, I recommend you check out podallies.com. You can record the episode and we can do essentially everything else for you. podallies.com. Thanks for joining us for this episode. I wish you success as you turn your podcast into profit through podcast monetization.